one that comes to my mind right away is a very extreme kind of a situation of rejection. This couple was seeing each other since their late school days. They had almost a 13-year relationship or a 14-year relationship. And then they were all set to get married. The parents and the families knew each other. And 2 weeks before the wedding, the cards were ready, the trousseau was ready, the house was there together, everything. I mean, it was set up, it was decorated, renovated, everything ready to move in. When the man kind of left and disappeared for a few days and was just not to be heard of. And then initially it felt like this could be, something must have happened. And then later they realized that he left off his own will. He wrote to somebody, he told a relative or a cousin that he's left off his own will. He does not want to get married. That's when the girl came to me and she had no clue. And this has not happened once. Something like this I have worked with a few times. This is a situation of extreme rejection because your entire life has been sort of planned with someone. You look forward to a life with somebody in a certain way. You've made plans, you've talked. So many things have been there and now it's all come crumbling down. And it's a very, very deep form of rejection. And I'm using an extreme example to say that just to get you an understanding of how even very difficult spaces of rejection can be worked with. So the first thing is, of course, there's a great deal of despair and a great deal of crying, depression, almost not being able to eat, nights awake, just not sleeping, like extreme dysregulation in the body and the mind, which is completely understandable in this situation. What I found was that initially the feelings of despair were so high that she was unable to even access her anger. She was unable to even access her, frustration, the questions, why me? Why wouldn't he speak to me? Why didn't he tell me what was going on? Was I such a bad partner? Was I so unavailable that I couldn't listen? Like blaming oneself, blaming the other, the whys, and the answers were not there and the answers were not going to come because the other person had left. We spend a lot of time validating these feelings and emotions. It was very important for that person to feel that they cannot just overcome this despair. This is deeply, deeply painful and that it's okay to now be in this pain for some time. They are not expected to snap out of it. And most others around you give you some kind of a, in their motivation to help, but they tell you, okay, get over it. I always knew he was not the right person for you. And some stuff like this doesn't always help because it doesn't provide you answers inside. So we worked for a long time to help do two things: regulate the body through working with some breathing practices and to validate the feelings. Then after some time, when we worked with validating feelings and really accessing feelings, she was able to access more anger. Now this took months. And over months, initially, there was no meditation and mindfulness practice because she's overwhelmed. So that's not the time to introduce. That time you just introduce relaxation, breathing practices. But slowly, as she settled with the idea, as a month or two had passed from this event and she was more settled to the idea and more accepting of the change that was there in her life, then we worked with meditation and mindfulness, which helped to deeply settle, understand also that one doesn't have to blame anybody. One doesn't have to necessarily judge anybody out of this, and whatever that person would have left with would be their own difficulties and issues, their inability to communicate. There's no point finding a blame space, but there is an okayness in being with the emotions that are left behind. The thing with human beings is if we don't find somebody to blame, we don't know what to do with the emotion. So sitting with the emotion without having to blame, sitting with the emotion without blaming yourself or your partner was primarily the work. And then over a period of time, she was able to kind of reach out to people she had not reached out to, get back to exercising, get back to taking care of herself, keeping herself as a primary focus, the relationship with herself as more important. And after a while, she was actually doing quite well. I met her after a year and a half, and she was actually doing quite well. So it is. But you have to go through those difficult 3-6 months and stay put without getting drawn into that downward spiral of, I am at fault or someone else is at fault. That's crucial.